Ask Candy, she's turned over a leaf. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with, Sasha Lightborn, the nice hairstyle,
Thank
by the
you.
way, and Candelaria Thompson. She's also in house with activist Duran Thompson, who will remain quiet.
Don't give him the
unless
mic.
I say so.
Don't give him the mic, yeah.
But
Oh, Lord.
yeah, you gotta have some kind of control sometimes. You know? I gotta exercise some control, Duran. All right, so yeah. First of all, Rogan is not here. She's what you would call traipsing.
Traipsing?
Traipsing. You know when they traipse
yes.
around the world.
Let me
wherever
look
she
that
is.
up. Let me
Yeah, look
Traipsing,
that up.
Is
yeah.
that a word?
Yeah, it's like traveling or moving about. I think it means. I hope it doesn't mean something like, uselessly.
Traipsing.
What does traipsing mean?
Spell that.
Tra-
I got it.
What does it mean?
Traipsing, to walk or move warily or reluctantly. I don't think that's
Oh,
the
no,
word you're
she's
going
not
for.
that ain't reluctant.
I don't think she's reluctant because she didn't.
Gallivanting.
Thank you.
Well, that's
Gallivanting
like
is a much
traipsing. Is
better.
that a synonym of traipsing?
No, it's
No.
not.
Well, it is now. So
Gallivanting
that's the end of
is-
it, okay.
That isn't
This is why I'm
reluctant.
here,
I know that.
because- Claire,
Yeah.
it's
You go
this-
here to go check your thesaurus. Yeah, traipsing. So anyway, didn't know it was reluctantly. I'll be honest with you, because my mother used to say something
Don't
like,
use words you don't know.
A lot of words
I've
I
always,
noticed
I've
have
always thought
other
it was.
mean-
I always
yeah.
thought because my mother would tell me, just like how we say scorch, we don't know what that means. My mother tell me, what you doing traipsing all around the place? That's what my mother told me. So now what you saying? You calling my mother dumb? I don't like that.
Did I say those words?
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
How you spell traipsing?
Traising.
P. Trapes. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So,
The word of the day.
walk about casually or needlessly. That's traipsing. I think she's about Washington or wherever she is.
Needlessly?
walking around.
No.
What if she didn't want people to know where she
Well,
was?
Washington State. That's where she is.
Listen, don't tell Ed you
I'm
missed.
shifting. Yeah. Anyway,
Don't tell Ed where you.
she's somewhere. She's somewhere. I
I'm
don't know.
glad I only come on once a
Well,
quarter.
what's the deal? What's the deal? Aren't you here on Thursday as well?
I am here on Thursday as well.
Okay.
So that's your
it's
fill
twice
for
a
the
quarter
yay
then.
for this.
So I got to see you no more. How you doing, girl?
I'm well, actually. Today is a very good day. Today is my parents' 41st
I was just about to ask you
anniversary,
about them.
and they are good.
Uh-huh.
I can't say where they are, but they are somewhere in
They
the
traipsing?
world. Traipsing.
Traipsing.
And it's good to still
know
be
where they are?
apart. I know where they are.
Oh, you don't want to reveal it?
I'm not going to reveal it like
Europe?
you. It's good to be in the small group of people that still have two parents that live under the same roof and love each other. So happy anniversary
Here,
to
here.
my parents, who I call the kids.
Upper Mongolia?
Kids. Happy anniversary to them.
How many years? I didn't.
41.
41.
I know they
years.
traipse it because usually get a call.
41 years.
On certain special occasions.
If they were here in Nassau, you probably would have gotten
yeah,
a call.
You get a call, yeah. So anyway, well, that's good. I want to say happy anniversary to Mike. I don't know if you're aware of this. I think I made you aware of
You
this
tell me
before.
this. Can we not do this story?
I'm gonna
we
do it.
say this story
No, I didn't
every
say it- I
time
didn't
I
say
come
it-
here.
I didn't say it like this, so I'm about to make a little.
Okay, yeah.
something.
Go ahead. Go
Tell me
ahead.
if I said this before, okay? And I need to. You need to come often. You know why? I need to break you. I gotta break you, man.
You need to what?
To break. Like when they wild, you gotta break them. Listen, your brother, your father. And I did not say this.
Let me record this for
If
him.
I did not say it, you can tell me. If I said it, you can tell me.
I will. Trust me,
said it.
I will. I'm a Taurus.
But I kind of grew up with brothers with them. Did I say that?
Ed,
I said we
you
were
tell
very
me
close.
that every single
I didn't
time I
use the
come
word
on this
brothers.
show.
I don't use that word. First of all, you only came on the show once?
No, I've been on the
No.
show more than once.
Not with me though.
No,
Yes.
With Rogan.
More so
Quite
with
more than with me.
Rogan.
Yeah,
no
more
way.
so with Rogan.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I know. So but we grew up like brothers, And because I think I told you the whole Godfather thing. Did I tell you that?
You've told me the story 10,000 million
Do
times.
you think that our listeners want to hear it again?
No, they don't.
But I'm in control of this thing, right?
So what
No,
you?
but anyway, did you hear it?
No, I
See,
don't
she
know.
didn't
I
hear
don't
it.
know the
She didn't hear it.
story.
So her uncle, her granduncle and grandaunt were both my godparents.
Okay.
So essentially, when you see her shows on TV, I'm partially responsible for the success of those shows.
Oh my
Excuse me?
goodness, how is that possible?
Just through, osmosis.
Through what?
Osmosis.
Let's look
You
up
wanna
that word
up
and
that word.
find the definition for
Look
that.
up that word. Look up that word. Anyway, I love you. I love you.
Transfer through
I
opinion.
loved you before I even knew you because I had to love you because of my love for you.
After the show,
Yeah,
I'm going to
people.
see just how much you love me.
Oh.
I have a question, but I'm going to ask that off air on commercial break, actually. And I'm going to let the viewers know what you're. I'm not going to
There's
tell
no
them what the
viewers
question.
here. Sorry, I know you don't.
The
use a TV
listeners
person.
then, the listenership.
Yeah.
I will find out with the listening
Is it
part. I will
embarrassing to
let
me?
the. No, it won't be
Okay,
embarrassing. I'll ask that on the commercial break.
Okay. All right. That you can see how. You want something from me?
Of course.
Oh Lord, it's always something they want. It's never like just how you doing?
How you doing, Ed?
I'm okay, but you want something, right?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's
I'm
good.
actually I have back pains. I think I'm falling apart.
It's old age.
Yeah, I know. That's what it is. I think
Ed, oh
I
my
have a thing
goodness.
called, and I know I didn't tell you this before, but as you get older, or if you're from Spanish Wells, you tell people your ailments. I don't know if you know that. The people from Spanish Wells, if you call them and you say how are you doing, they will tell you
Didn't know that.
in total detail about all of their ailments, and if they don't have an ailment, they'll tell you the ailment of a friend. Are you aware of that, Duran? No. Okay. Long Island people do it too. Okay. So
my foot right in there.
And if they're okay, well, I okay, but Mighty ain't doing that good. She had the thrombosis. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say because I know what I was saying. So I have this thing called plantar fasciitis. Are you
Is that
familiar
the
with
thing
that?
with the foot?
With
Yeah.
the foot.
Yeah, I know
At
someone who has
it's
it.
the bottom of the foot,
It's not
right?
fun. I think a lot of runners get it, but you
Yeah.
have it if you have, and I obviously don't run, but if you have high arches or flat feet, over a period of time, the tendons, you're essentially.
I have very
walking,
flat feet.
You're walking incorrectly, and if you walk barefoot a lot or whatever the deal is, or
You
hard
have flat
surfaces,
feet or you have
high arches.
You have a high arch.
Arch,
Oh
yeah.
wow. I am
So what
opposite.
happens is once it gets to a point where the tendons are, just not in good shape. When you lay down or you stay still for a long period of time, especially at night, it tries to heal. The tendons try to heal. So when you get up in the morning and you take that first couple of steps, it's like rips apart. So it's very painful. After a while, but what has also happened, Sasha, because I know you're interested in my well-being, is your god nephew, uncle, or something in law, or whatever. It'll work it out. I think I've overcompensated.
You ever thought about live streaming?
Why is that?
Just live streaming the show.
I thought about I overcompensate, I think, for that, and now I got a problem on the other side. So I'm just like, I don't know if it's arthritis or, but you know what's scary? To your point about being old, I see older people walking around, and there's a lot of stunted walking, and I'm figuring now this is it for me. They're walking like with a move, a hitch, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You ain't feeling none of that yet, eh?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I actually am at like 10,000 steps for the day.
Okay. So you just sit and go like that?
That's good.
No.
No.
We actually have a fit challenge at our office, so I'm trying to get at least 10,000 every day.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good goal to have.
That's the goal.
Especially in the business you're in, where you're always eating things. I see you all the time eating things on TV.
That's
Can
just
you? I'm going to ask you
What?
something, Anya. Can you invite me on one of those shows?
Sure, no problem,
Okay,
man.
okay.
When I can get to
But can
do
you
several
tell
of
me-
the Atlantis
but
restaurants, you
tell
can
me-
come.
But that's not a problem. I thought we had something to bring something like that. But let me ask you another. You'd been at an Ocean Club. But let me ask you another question.
That I did
She about to
off
hold
of my
you right
own
now.
volition.
Well, we don't own them no more. Can you give me a list of the places you're going to go, preferably in the family house, and I will then invite myself on those shows to be kind of like a, like you're the what do you call
Sous
it?
chef?
Play-by-play.
Oh,
You're the
play-by-
play-by-play. I'll be the color man. I think it'll be a good team.
It's a no.
No, it's a yes.
It's a no.
It's to be considered. Don't do that on
The
air.
next
It's
season of the
embarrassing
show
to
will
me.
begin
It'll be
in
embarrassing.
May.
Yeah.
So if you're around, I may consider inviting you to one or two of the shows.
I was thinking like maybe a season. But hey, let's negotiate. Listen, what else have you been doing?
Working.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, like what? You work for Alive, those
Yeah.
people. I'm not. That's the end of that. Now we can't say any more about that.
You have a
You
text
said it,
line now, right?
Yeah, I forget
That's
the number.
sponsored by.
No, remember that we had an arrangement. It was cut off.
Excuse me?
Yeah, after a certain period, they say, well, we finished with that. Well,
No,
we
we
can see you're talking our business on the air now. By the way, you notice that the Lysol can matches your shirt.
It
It's
actually
no,
doesn't.
It doesn't.
Well, it's like when I
It's
say
compli-
matches, it's complimentary.
it's-
That's
no,
what I
well,
mean.
You really should live stream. You would do well.
Why is that?
Because I think people can hear you, but if they see you as well, it would do so much for the
Well,
show.
weren't you supposed to do that?
But
And
you
what
know
happened?
what? I rely on people, like people in the technical world, to come and do. By the way, I also relied on some we'll talk about off air, and they just don't. They don't. You handle that? Now, you see, Dominique, you can talk
No,
loud.
he's telling you to wrap up.
Oh, it's wrap up? Oh, you can't handle the technical thing. Okay. So he was already going to disappoint me. We'll be right back. We're on the air now. That's Dominique. He's our technical guy today. And Sasha Lightborn, she's famous. She's on. I'm very fortunate to have some very, very good co-hosts and, fill-in co-hosts. I'm very privileged. We're not just. It's just not any Tom, Dick, and Sasha. It's just good people. That didn't come off right?
No,
Okay.
it didn't.
It isn't any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You have people like Sasha and all that kind of thing. So thank you, Sasha, for.
And you have
agreeing to
a
start.
special relationship with each one, a unique
I
relationship
do.
with each one. You do. And
They're
it's-
all and they're
and they
except for
are
Jerome.
different dynamics.
Yeah, because we have Jerome. Jerome
Yeah.
comes on every now and again.
So that's
We
pretty
have some
cool.
good folks, and I'm
Yeah.
very appreciative.
And so,
let me-
y'all need to see her face while
So
she's looking at him.
See, let me tell you something.
That's why we
when
need
you
live
see someone
streaming.
when you see someone look like that, the amount of outpouring of love that I feel.
I feel it.
I feel it.
Really,
She's trying
I
to hide
do.
it. I understand that. She has what you would call, and I don't mean this in a bad way, a very hard exterior. I don't mean, I'm talking about, she's in charge.
For a marshmallow
But
inside?
ah,
Toffee.
she's like a s'mores.
Like
You know what I
him.
mean? I don't have do I have a hard exterior?
I would say so.
Sasha, I'm referring to you. Do I have a hard exterior? Honey?
Sometimes you can. Yeah,
Honey?
Yeah,
Honey?
it's very Me Too and all that. But anyway, I don't have a hard exterior. I just, I don't fool.
If
I
a
don't fool
person
around.
doesn't know you, they
Right, they
they
would be very intimidated
Yeah,
by you.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
and I've
course.
heard that about
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. But we know who we are, and
We
we're
do.
very nice people.
We are.
Yes,
What'd you say, Durad? Durad, shake his head. You're allowed to say yes. You can say that. Yeah. So,
thinks
Sasha,
the
you
same
think we
about
should
me,
live
too.
stream?
Yeah, I think you should live stream.
Okay.
I think it's gonna add more
Okay.
to your listeners.
All right.
And it's simple. It's so simple.
said that.
We are very. By the way, we are very appreciative, and I'm gonna have to talk about our sponsors in a second. We are very appreciative of our listeners. It's amazing to me as you go around, as I'm sure you do, and we don't want to spend too much time on this kind of narcissism here, but when you go around and people who you maybe you don't expect it say, good show, and they can talk verbatim about what happened. It's a very kind of heartwarming thing.
It's a humbling experience.
Yeah.
I find it especially like when kids
Yeah.
come up to me and say, "Oh,
yeah.
that's the lady from the show." In fact, I just met a coworker of mine, her daughter from Temple Christian, and she said,
I don't know anyone
"You
from
look
there.
different,
Yeah.
but you used to be on the TV."
Yeah.
So like with kids,
Right.
it's very very
Yeah.
humbling.
Yeah.
I like when they say you sound like you, but that's what they say. But it's also a kind of a weird thing because you're sitting in a studio or in a TV studio. You don't see people. There's no kind of
Right.
interaction.
But they identify
So
you from your voice.
right, and Sasha has a show where she's exchanging and interacting with her guests.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interacting with my guests and my co-hosts. So it's kind of like you just hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
and people I guess are kind of they have permission to eavesdrop
Mm-hmm.
on that, and so it's good. I like, and also, and I say this to you, and I hope I fall into this category. There's a lot of stuff on the air that's kind of,
Nah.
give me some,
Blah.
well, it's not
Meh.
blah. It's
Nah.
it's a lot of misinformation.
It's also regurgitory.
Yeah, and it's not good. So I'm just hoping that we fall into the good category. That's all we strive for is to something where people when they're listening, they can get some some humor. Because listen, driving home after work,
Yep.
and we
In
you know
traffic.
and the reference I'm going to make too.
What's that?
When the women going home and they got to do what?
Take out the pork chop.
Thaw out the pork chop. You know, they're not. They know. They don't tell.
That pork chop better
They
be out.
tell Duran, listen,
Take
take the
that
pork chop
out.
so when I get home I can steam that up. So, but when you get home, they ain't
pork.
take out the pork chop,
Why you?
and that becomes a big nightly, I waken my thing to the bone every day, and y'all can't even take the pork chop out the freezer.
And then we ain't eat till 9 o'clock tonight.
But anyway, y'all can eat sausage tonight. Okay. So, that's the kind of thing. So when people are driving home with that level of stress, knowing that despite asking for the pork chop to be taken out, it's not going to be out, then hopefully we can give them. See, even with this, there are people driving home now who want the pork chop out. In actuality, it's not going to be out, but hopefully this will give some levity, that's the word, to the whole situation of the pork chop not being out. When they go home and the pork chop out, maybe they'll chuckle. Maybe it'll be a chuckle. See, the pork chop wasn't
and it wasn't out.
I love when you smile, Sasha. It gives me a feeling of approval. Okay?
Like you're doing something right.
Something
Hey,
decent,
I ain't gonna lie. I feel
Oh, wow. Okay, Ed. It's good. It feels good to be back.
Yeah, okay. Good having you back, and we'll always have you back. Our guest this afternoon is going to be very interesting because I've never really had any kind of major dialogue with him. Is Tennyson Wells, who is the chairman of BAMSI and a former minister of various things. So that'll be interesting to find out what's going on with BAMSI and food security and all that sort of thing. What's in the news? What's in anything that has piqued your interest? Because I know you're not holding back on anything.
Today actually
SL.
has been a really busy day for me. And this is how I know it was really busy. I did not get to read the papers today
Okay.
at all.
So
They're
there's no
still
interest.
sitting on my desk.
So you have
No,
nothing.
I wouldn't say that there's no interest. There are still other
Let me
mediums
see these papers
which
here.
I could get my news.
This
This story about this kid was really sad.
Yo, jeez. Well, is the kid okay?
Yeah, they said the kid's
Yeah,
fine. The
okay.
kid has been returned.
Yeah.
I heard
They were looking.
an
Well, as soon as I
interview
heard
from an
that.
uncle actually that an uncle of the boy that actually touched me because I know the person. I used to work with the person. It was just interesting.
Well, as soon as I read that, the Bahamas is a kind of I don't know how you could describe it because there's a lot of descriptions. But when I saw that and I heard two ladies grab this kid, I immediately knew what it was. Some kind of custody thing. It wasn't just like a crime like
Crime.
pedophile type, file type thing, as opposed to someone rowing, the two parents rowing or something like that. So good to see that the child was returned or found unharmed. So that's a good thing.
Patients found again. It's not going to stop.
Well, it's going to increase
Yeah.
because of what's going on in Haiti.
Yeah, the industrial unrest.
And the irony, and I don't know if we don't predict, but if the Bahamas economy kind of, right now, the tourism is doing very well, as you know. It did well last year. It's starting off pretty good this year. And,
Yeah.
And I got to say it again, Miss Bethel, who is actually married to a cousin of mine, Tim Bethel. Again, condolences to Tim
Yeah, they
and his
had her
family.
service
They've had
on
some tragedy in there.
this past
They're a
Saturday.
young family.
Yeah.
But I'm 60. What was I talking about before I saw the picture?
Talking about the Haitian.
Right,
Yeah.
right. If the economy of the Bahamas continues to grow and get better, which we hope it will, and the situation there grows worse, we're only going to see more inflow.
Yeah.
Because do you think there's even a beginning of an appreciation of Bahamians, or an understanding by Bahamians, of realizing the level of
Poverty.
poverty and destitution and desperation that exists there? The same like you see people coming from Nicaragua, right? Walking for months to get to the U.S. border. That's desperation. Our only interest in this country is the customs officer giving me a hard time so I could go to Miami.
In many
and get back.
instances, we live in a bubble here. Seriously. We think everything is ice. We don't. Then it boils down to exposure and things like that. So.
You think if we had, I don't know, I'm in the mode now because time is running out. as you're aware.
For who?
For me.
You can live till like 108.
Listen, time is running out for all of us.
And you have good genes. So I've heard.
And it's hard for me to fit into those jeans, Sasha.
He's going to be here like 97 years old.
It's
He's
like,
oh,
jeans,
goodness.
You know?
My time is ticking.
The bottom line is time is running out, as it is for all of us.
For everyone,
right?
yeah.
But I'm just closer to the 100-yard line.
No, you're not.
And so I just feel the need to be calmer, you know.
That's a good thing
to be not as reactionary to things.
Or to just enjoy life.
Yeah. You know, and I think that a lot of people are very reactionary, and it causes them a lot of stress. And this is the thing. So you listen to all of these people, and this is going to sound very egotistical, but I don't mean it to sound that way. When I feel like I need to complain about something, I also feel the need to do something about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I'm going to complain about litter, for instance, I don't feel the need to just complain about it
and leave it be.
And just constantly complain about it. I feel the need to take some action. There are a lot of people who just
complain,
or they don't care at all. You know, and I just if you're not gonna get involved with the process, if you're not gonna, and worse off, if you're not gonna get informed, right? If you're not gonna find out what the possible solutions, etc., are, then I just feel like just go buy a 80-inch and be happy, So, what else is new, Miss Sasha? You didn't have time to read the the 80-inch TV. That's what I was referring to. Okay. I don't know what you were thinking. What else is new in the world of Sasha? I'd like to know.
You want to know all my business?
Well, pieces of it, the parts that you would
like
to.
The 10th season of my show is out. That's a big deal for me.
If I remember correctly, I forgot the name of that last time. And I said it wrong. It's something eaten, 242 in it. I know that. I'm old. I get excused for this stuff. Give us the name.
You know what I was taught?
What's
Excuses are tools of incompetence.
Maybe that's
built
maybe
on
I'm just
monuments
trying to maybe I'm just trying to give you a free plug. Maybe I'm trying to give you a free plug and
the show is called Happy Foods 242.
There you go.
It airs on cable channel 212 on Saturdays at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
Instead of being grateful for the free plug.
Thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate you.
You lambaste me and you belittle me. I don't want to be belittled any longer.
And Ed so loves the show that he's going to ensure that I get at least,
well, I don't know,
a minimum
but I thought
of 3 of his brands.
I thought this was going to be off the air.
No, I ain't saying this on TV because this don't have nothing to do with
the other thing.
The other thing.
Okay, boy.
He's going to get me at least a minimum of 3 of his
brands
within the place that he is formally employed by.
Let me say this as well. I am not interested in being on those shows. I'm into the Family Island shows. Now, we have with us Candy.
Yeah.
The usual Monday morning thing.
Hi.
Rand, you got some glasses over there. You're going to go for that look.
He's got his reading glasses.
You guys see close? Number 2. No.
A 2.0.
What is 2.0 mean?
No, that's like the reading glasses.
I don't need glasses.
You have like 1.25, 1.75.
I didn't know that.
Just reading, yeah.
Okay.
And then when you pass that, then you go to
I was wearing but see, that's the thing. I've been wearing glasses since I was about 7 years old.
Oh wow!
And the bizarre thing is that my eyes have improved. So when I was a kid, if I was sitting here, I couldn't read that on the thing there. Feel the music. Now I can read everything. You could hold anything up.
And you don't wear contacts, right?
No, and I don't. Plus I can see close. So so my prescription has gone less.
But you're weird, so I can believe that.
Okay, you're weird too.
No, I mean weird stuff happens to you.
No, you're weird. I don't like
you.
Once again, I'm being belittled. I'm being belittled by junior people.
Weird is not a bad thing.
What does weird mean in modern language?
Weird is not a bad thing.
Okay.
I'm just saying, but things
weird?
happen to you, right? You got strange stuff happening to you, like things happen to you, like good things. But it's like weird. It's not normal stuff.
But you know what hasn't happened to me yet?
What's that?
I haven't won the lottery. I want that to happen.
You got to work on that then.
Boy.
Because
and
when you think things happen.
No. We could do a whole show. We could do a whole show about what I would do if I won that lottery.
Would you be like your boy?
No, it's a whole show. Huh?
What was it?
Well, I'm going to go around. I'm going to go around the horn. I don't know what your topic is. We're going to come back to that anyway because we still have to wait for Mr. Wells and ask. Let's ask Sasha first. I'm going to also ask Duran.
How much?
Big. You can't have it no little thousands.
No, like hundreds of millions.
Big.
Okay.
Just saying big. Whatever it is, big. Not no 5 million. You know.
Big money.
Big. Powerball.
Hey, no whammies.
Sasha, have you? Because I know we've all thought about it. Have you thought what you would do if you won $100 million?
Mm-hmm.
And what would you do?
The first thing that I would do is give some of it to my parents.
Okay, we all have that. We get on that. What about siblings? Do you have siblings?
I have one older brother.
Would he get any?
His new daughter will get some.
But not his.
Did we hear on the air that you're not giving him a dime? Is that
my niece will get.
But he's not getting? Oh, okay. Well,
it's debatable.
That's okay. It's
my niece. She's only 2 months old. Aww. She will get.
Okay. Well,
my first ever niece,
I have
Riley
a feeling
Bryce.
Then your brother will be stealing some of that. But
Riley Bryce will definitely be straight.
Okay. All right. And anything else other than giving your?
I'm working on a very big project right now. So if that project gets off the ground, then some of that money will be used to build more of those projects.
Okay. Very, very altruistic.
I'll give some back to charity, obviously. Yeah. A lot to my church.
Yeah, very, very altruistic. Yeah. Very.
Pay some of my bills.
Very applaudable.
No, seriously.
Yeah. Pay some of your bills?
Pay all.
Okay.
All on them.
There'll be some bills she's going to pay to arrive at $100 million.
All on them.
Okay.
I go pull a Miss Rule.
Yeah. So pull that mic down to you, Duran. Let me find out. Yeah. Because I know you've fantasized about this. We all have. It's, any thoughts on that Powerball money?
I'm a simple guy, man.
You're a simple guy.
I go fishing, man.
Yeah,
I go enjoy
in a nice boat.
The former Prime Minister. I go fishing. That's it, man. I just make some trips.
Yeah.
That's it.
You realize you could do that now. You don't need to win the lottery. You can
I get it on a different scale, though.
and you're going to have no obligations behind.
No.
Yeah.
Just going fishing. That's it.
Hey,
is Candy going fishing with you?
I was just like, are your children going fishing with you? They going with you, eh?
Candy can be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Assuming she wants to go fishing. Because, a lot of things change after that. Because you got to give her a cut.
No, the boat, cut of what?
The dollars.
No more way to get him on.
Well, how he sweep me in his thing?
Well, see, if I were you, I'd give a cut and, you'd start thinking about starting over. But anyway.
Mom, but it can be a nice boat.
It can be a nice boat.
She don't know I fishing on the back of the boat.
Okay. The boat's so low. Where's Duran?
A yacht.
Yeah.
Sounds like not a boat.
Yeah, you don't get no boat with no $100 million.
Yeah, a yacht.
You're going to get, I imagine you'll get some more calligraphy. You'll get some more calligraphy pens?
No. I say, so I can't leave some for the family and then disobey.
Well, that's an option. I think it's an option. I don't think it's an option you should discuss it here.
I just joking.
Okay.
I would help, my family. Yeah. And I think I just would be on cruise control. I would still work. I would still be, do what I'm doing. But to have that level of freedom and peace and not, having to owe anybody anything. Yeah. Invest in.
Your husband ain't gonna be working. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And then start, full on my business that I really want to be doing.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say this, and we're gonna go off the air in a couple of minutes and come back on. There will be no businesses. Okay.
No, I won't be running the day to day.
I'm not in anything. I will be giving my family.
Yeah, well, you don't live your life. You also.
Exactly. I will give my family their cut.
Mm-hmm.
They can choose to stick around or not. It's up to them. But I will be vanishing on a number of occasions. Just vanish.
No window envelopes for you.
No. Okay. So, as Sasha, the belittler. You know how in the days they had like Alexander the Conqueror? Sasha, the belittler, says, I'm done all. So I could do whatever I want to do. Well, I am. Don't worry about it.
Time for you to enjoy the fruits of your labor now.
The fruits of my labor. Jeez. Well, the thing is about a lottery. Really, there's not much labor involved with that, but I'll enjoy
exactly.
it. I'll enjoy the fruits of other people contribution of $1 a piece.
But I gotta be like your boy who won the lottery in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't know I won that.
Well, first of all, let me say this, and I say this very candidly, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I won't know any of you.
No.
Yeah, you're done.
So you wouldn't be godfather no more.
No, but you wouldn't even know I won. You wouldn't even know I won.
You wouldn't be godfather no more.
I have to vanish. And the reason I do it is this.
Oh boy, I tell you, you're being
Sasha,
you're also niggly.
Sasha, let me explain why that's the case. And I know, Dominic, well, we got to come back. We'll come back. We'll take the break. We'll come back. I'll explain why I won't know you anymore. We'll be back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with Candy and Sasha as our guest host. Duran is here as well. I guess you'd be like the assistant guest host. I don't know the term. I don't know what the thing is. The supporter, yeah. Before we go to Candy, and our guest this afternoon is going to be Mr. Tennyson Wells, who is the chairman of BAMSI. We'll talk about some BAMSI stuff. I want to explain to you, even though I know you don't want me to explain to you, why I would not know you and others. Because it's out of love. It's out of caring. I don't want to put you under that kind of pressure. When people have money, let's say I have a yacht. Let's just say I have a yacht, right? Duran, he don't have a yacht. Let's say he don't have a yacht. Okay. Now, me and him used to hang out all the time. But now I have a yacht and he don't have a yacht. He can feel bad. You see what I'm saying?
And you're not inviting him on your yacht?
No, but I mean, if you invite him on the boat, he can feel bad too, because he can go, boy, I got this yacht. I might as well tell you, I feel bad when I on other people's yacht. I'm not going to pretend. I know you're perfect and angelic. I feel bad when I on other people's yacht.
No, I don't
feel bad. Like, wow, they have this yacht. So what I want to do is, out of love and kindness and altruism and all that sort of thing, I'll have a function once a year where you can come on the yacht with the other people who I know or used to know. And then after that, but I wouldn't even be there. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be there. Y'all can enjoy it, and then, we'll go from there. All right, Candy, you have a topic that you'd like to discuss.
Weekend discussions. You like that, hey?
Well, it's Monday, though.
Yeah. No, I said my topic is from, it's
from the weekend?
Yeah, weekend, from the weekend discussion.
Okay, it's from the, okay.
I'm sorry. From the weekend discussion.
What are you shaking your head, Sasha? The streaming. We got to get the streaming?
We have to.
So people get...
Because of the antics?
Yes,
okay,
yeah, so
right.
people get everything.
Okay.
So Sunday was the only day that I really had off, right? Okay. So,
And how long?
What do you mean?
When you say Sundays
Sundays are the only days that I have off.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So that's my time to watch some movies and stuff like that, and I got to cook and things like that, which I really don't do during the week.
Okay.
Anyway, selling all my business. Yeah. People think I'm not.
So there's no pork chop thawing in your house during the week.
I ain't thawed it out.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so we were watching this movie, and I have my kids, and there was this scene on the movie where you had these two adults getting a little close and right,
okay,
and or kissing and things like that. So I had my younger So I had my two younger kids in the room,
right,
and they weren't really paying attention. They weren't watching the film.
Right, but you panicked. Go ahead.
But yes, your natural reaction to that is, oh Lord, cover your eyes, because you can't see people kissing, or you can't see people undressing, or you can't see,
people having intercourse
and things like that. And it's like, why do we shield? Now I know there's age appropriateness, right? I understand that, but you would allow your child to sit there and watch other things, that are natural. I mean, and unnatural. You have violence. You see people. You have
people
children.
Don't let their children watch violence.
I mean, you see. When I say violence, I don't necessarily mean gunfighting or anything like that. But you see, all sorts of things. But why is sex and sexuality? Why do we shield and mask ourselves, our children from those, something that is that's how you get here.
But see, you have to understand the role of the church. Okay? So they didn't have psychologists and all that back in the day, in the caveman day and all that. They didn't have different rooms. You go to your room now in the cave. Go to your cave now. Okay?
Yeah.
They just did what they had to do where they had to do it. It didn't matter who was there and who wasn't there.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people talk about the fact that we have shielded kids. There's a book I read once, because you know I don't read, called Walden 2. It was several years ago. It was at least, I want to say at least 25 years ago, called Walden 2 by B.F. Skinner. He's a behavioral psychologist. It was about a utopian society, and their whole thing was, in addition to other things, they allowed their children to essentially get married almost around at puberty.
Right.
Okay. And then that did a couple of things. One, it was natural, because that's when they were in the childbearing years. Two, that people could have children, and when they're young, when I say young, like 30, they can still enjoy life.
Right.
Because they're finished with child rearing. And two, also, kind of the village took care of the children.
Right.
It wasn't just the parents. But what they also found out, this is all experimental, was that there was not a lot of deviance in the behavior of adults when they got older, because their natural urges were not being suppressed. Well, were met. Yeah. Were not being suppressed. When you suppress something, when you say, close your eye, well, what do you want to do? Look.
Yeah. It makes you more curious, eh?
Exactly. So I think the society is hung up, and I think that came about as a result of religion and control.
And shielding.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Control your...
Sasha?
Like,
is it something that, we should be doing? Is there an appropriate age?
Should we be making a big deal of it?
Right. Should we really be making a big deal of, shielding your child from watching
the Juggamonga?
Things that are extremely natural.
I don't know how I feel about it, because even sometimes, like me personally, I still be like,
around your parents, say.
Well, that's not even around my parents, just me.
Like when you're in the room by yourself watching TV.
And I don't even have any kids. So like for me, it's still. But I guess that's
a result of your socialization.
Yeah. For kids, I think there are certain things that kids should and should not watch.
Yeah.
Like extremely graphic.
Well, I ain't trying to talk about Monster Ball type, eh? I don't think Monster Ball type of stuff, but you remember that scene?
Yeah. I'm trying to
I was just gonna say, do you got that reference?
You know, Holly and I, we type. You know that.
When since?
Since Trinidad.
Oh Lord, she was what?
What?
Why are you all lauding and you don't know the circumstances?
No, I just
because we both said all Lord. We both said it.
So I went to Carnival once in Trinidad. I used to go every year. And Brian Lara, are you familiar with that name? He's a West Indian cricket player. He was like one of the best cricket players. And he would have a fete every year, and I would go to it. In fact, just to show you that I'm not lying, Eric D was there too. There were other people.
Boy, he could call out people's business.
Well, Larry, he and I went to Trinidad. The whole world knew we wanted the radio. We said we went to Trinidad.
Okay.
So we went to Trinidad, and we went to this fete, and Halle Berry was there.
Fettin'.
She was at the fete. And I can tell you, she looks gorgeous. I'm going to say this on the air. She had perfectly pear-shaped breasts.
She still looks really good, though. She
perfect.
Still looks very good.
Can you say that, Dominique? Pear-shaped breasts? Well, why not? So the thing is this. It's a fruit. So here's the deal. So she, by accident, of course, because I don't think she was, like saying, I'm going to go check on that dude. She came and stood next to me for the whole fete. 2.5 hours. 3 hours, whatever, we talk. And these guys, I remember this one guy, man, he had the shade right open, he had dreadlocks, and he come up to it, everyone tried to make a move. But of course, I was going undercover. Because my move was like, I don't even see you. You see? But
you was involuntarily macking.
Right.
What you call
Sniper.
it?
Involuntarily.
I am?
Macking.
And what's Mac?
Oh my God.
No, but I'm sorry, I don't know anything about Mac. My middle name is MacDonald, so maybe that's what I was doing. But anyway, here's the deal. I know that I sat next to her. We had a wonderful conversation.
You think she'll remember you?
No, I don't think so. Just too many people. But maybe you never know.
Yeah.
And I offered her to come down to Ocean Club and the whole deal. So she was a very nice woman.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how we got on that conversation.
Anyway, because I know you like to derail conversations. But anyway, back to my topic.
Yeah.
No, I think sometimes we, parents, you're right, Monster Ball. That's how we got there. Yeah. But I think we shield too because we're not even prepared to answer questions should they have any,
We're results
questions.
of centuries of socialization.
I cringed
Centuries.
at first, but I think that's something that I would like to change.
I remember going
within myself,
I remember dating a girl
my reach.
who, when I went to, this is in the Bahamas, and they had a resort type thing in the Family Islands, and went to her house, and first of all, her parents didn't seem to object to her, she and I, being alone, and then we went up by their house, and they were nude.
But see, that's the thing, right?
Now, of course, me, I was in a Dundas, so I act like nothing. I was just normal.
And I think all of that plays towards our, incredible, conservativeness towards sex.
Yeah.
And then when you get married and all these things, then it's problems. Because this one wants you to be this way. Oh, no, I can't be that way because it's something that's so ingrained in you from such a young age that, it's a cycle. Yeah. Got to break it.
Yeah. Got to break the cycle. Better break the sex cycle. Okay? What's the matter, Sasha?
I don't know if that was the point that I was trying to make, but anyway.
We came to a really good conclusion. Got to break the sex cycle. Sounds like something you put in a freezer.
Oh my goodness, these people are gonna think that I'm just I don't know.
And your husband is here with you, so that's good.
I mean, I don't know, ain't much I hide from him. So.
Yeah, well, I hope not.
Right?
So maybe Duran can come on sometime and tell us about the sex cycle. We'll be back. We're going to have Tennyson Wells on. I want to thank Candy for coming by.
Thank you.
Again, we'll see you on
Don't shield your children all the time.
Not all the time, And Duran, thanks for the support. Yeah, appreciate it. Come by anytime. We're going to have Duran on the show because Duran is an activist in his own right. So, but he's young. So he's...
he ain't that young.
Yeah,
he's
younger than me, so he's still riled up. I told, who was it on the other day? Carlos Reed.
Yeah.
Said you're still riled up, We'll be right back.
If you love...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Sasha Lightbourne. She's making me very conscious of she tells me I have antics. How am I having antics? I'm just saying, I'm gesturing, hand gestures.
It would be good if people saw that.
The gestures?
Live stream.
Okay. Maybe there's some things I don't want them to see, you know what I mean, Teddy?
Yeah,
we have with us the Honorable, because, once you're in cabinet for as long as he's been in cabinet, you retain the title of the Honorable, correct?
Oh, I really don't know. People just call it. I never research it.
That's what the deal is. If you've been in Parliament, I think a minister for so many years, I think at least 5 years, one term, you get to keep it. So there you go. So we have with us the Honorable Tennyson Wells, who I think you were Minister of Transport.
Minister of Agriculture and
Fisheries. Okay.
And Transport.
Transport. And were you Attorney General?
Attorney General.
Attorney General. There you go. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
But we called you in your capacity as the chairman of BAMC.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was all about.
You didn't think I just called you to say hi? So, but and there's been a lot. Well, not as much now, but there was a lot of activity around BAMC prior to the 17 general elections. A lot of activity, a lot of mischief afoot, I think people might have thought about BAMC. First of all, let me ask you a question. Were you ever a farmer? I don't know why.
I grew up on a farm. Yeah, my father was a farmer. I grew up on a farm.
Long Island.
Sheep, goat, pigs, bananas, mangoes, whatever.
So you have a little idea.
I have an idea of, yeah.
All right. So,
persistence farm.
Okay.
But, yeah, what do they call it now? Persistent farm.
What is it? Subsistence farming.
Subsistence
farming. You're just trying to
to
sustain yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you all call it back then? Just farming?
As we call it, just farming.
Okay.
Yeah. Subsistence, I think we call it, yeah.
Now, so BAMC came about to I think Godfrey Eneas and others were involved with it because he recognized, and many other people thought, that the Bahamas could become self-sufficient with regards to food, that we could attain what they now refer to as food security. But this is kind of your topic, Sasha, food security. We import I don't know what the number is, but it's a huge amount.
A lot.
Okay.
That's about $1 billion.
Right. And it's probably, in the 90% of our food usage or whatever you call consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even possible to get to a point in the Bahamas, 300,000 people, of food security?
I don't say it's possible. It would be 100% possible, but
right.
A major portion of the food that we consume
you think we
can be grown there, yes.
What has been...
The technology has reached a stage now where you could take the stone on the rock and crush it and feed it. I mean, you could take the water with hydroponics and do it. We're now doing it in others.
Yeah. Well, what have been, you were Minister of Agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
When was that, the 90s?
92 to 95.
Yeah. What has been the obstacles? Because we used to have things like Hatchet Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I know of people who said that we grew many a product here in terms like strawberries. I wasn't aware of that there were
mm-hmm.
farms that grew strawberries in abundance for export. Obviously we had pineapple,
tomatoes.
We got bananas of the yin yang. Any respectable Bahamian have at least one banana tree in the yard.
That's right.
At least one. Mangoes. Things that when you go to a Walmart even now, you go in there and you see tamarinds.
That's right.
In boxes.
Even in Nassau now, there's tamarinds.
Okay,
we got them grown, but they come from Thailand.
So what has stopped it? What was the barriers to Bahamians getting into serious farming that would be both for domestic and export?
Well, I think the lack of soil, and most of the family islands, Andros, Abaco, Grand Bahama, have the appropriate soil,
mm-hmm.
and after you prepare it. In the other family islands, you could do that, but it's very expensive to do it. When I was minister, I recall they said to prepare an acre of land for farming back then, it would cost you probably between around $3,000 an acre to use the bulldozer to rip the land and turn it over and stuff like that. So when you look at it, if you're doing 100 acres of land at $3,000 an acre, 200,000 just as that. And then the inputs, fertilizer, you have to add to it. It's quite a number of things. Lack of water,
right,
was not a problem.
So you're in $1 million outlay right off.
Oh yeah, yeah. But today, you could take that land. They have some machines. I understand Craig have one, and there's two of machines in the country now. That's Craig Simlet.
Okay. Oh, the client farms, yeah.
Yeah, and they could take huge stones and crush them. So you would have soil, then you add, compost to it, like leaves, and they rot and stuff. Yeah. Over a couple of years, you have very rich soil.
I went to school in a place called Minnesota.
Mm.
And if you know anything about it, it's the bread basket, that area,
right,
where you could get a 6-foot stick and just push it into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how rich the soil is.
That's right. And it'll go down 4 or 5 feet.
With no problem. In fact, I remember one time, I wanted to draw like a hopscotch or something. I couldn't find a rock. I said, what's wrong with these people? You can't find a rock, no chalky rock. Everything is soil.
Yeah.
So obviously that has been a dilemma. But also, especially now with the new technologies, I remember there was a time in the 80s, I think it was, when in fact this was one of the campaign things that the FNM railed against Mr. Christie, when the government was giving Bahamians plots of land in Andros to farm. That's a big deal, the land, right? What happened with that? Why didn't that work?
That's Batad now.
That's not? What's it called?
Batad.
Okay.
That's right next to Bomsey, the 800 acres that Bomsey.
What did Batad stand for?
They had 40, anywhere from 20 to 80 acres.
Okay.
Each farm, I think. When I became minister, there was 21, I think it was about 21 of them there. Or they call it Bach or Batad, one of them. And they still have that land, in most part, but they didn't farm it. And I think the government should give them what they been occupying it because they've been there now from the 70s.
All right. But they didn't farm it.
They have you got 80 acres of land. It's plenty land.
Right.
They may have an acre or two that they tilling, and but the rest of it is pine forest. Most of it's pine forest now. I haven't been there from 1990. That would have been 94, maybe 94, 95. That's the last time I've been on that particular piece of land.
But
most of the old fellas who they had that land, they probably all dead now anyway.
Yeah. Was it? I guess it's not enough just to give people some land. Was there the
infrastructure? It was objective. Don't forget, what Barmsey is today.
Right.
Started with the Americans, what they called Bartad, I think, back in the early 70s.
Right.
They spent $10 million or so preparing that 800 acres.
Right.
And they had cattle there.
I remember going there and seeing
they all
big
died, and they was doing farming there. All of the places that they had there, all the offices and things, they all went to hell. Between when they put out, in I believe maybe in the late 70s, 80s, when I became minister, there was a guy, the people who have a carnival now, was Aronson.
Yeah.
Aronson, son, there was a fellow called Jerry Glantz, was there farming for cucumbers. The problem was harvesting them. The Androsians,
the labor,
couldn't get your labor. The harvesting we tried. They were asking to bring in Filipinos, but of course, that was political.
I mean, I was told by Earl DeVoe. I had both Earl DeVoe and Godfrey Enos on the show at the same time, and they made me aware of a fact that I wasn't aware of, and that is that Homestead, Florida, is a fairly large, another breadbasket area in the United States that feeds a large part of the United States.
South Florida, yeah.
And they said that the Bahamas has more farmable land than that area.
Well, we're supposed to have 186,000 acres of arable land in the Bahamas. That's agricultural land that has been designated as agricultural land. They did the British, I think, did a land use study back in the late 60s, early 70s, and that's what they came up with.
And I imagine that's between Andros, Abaco, and
most of it is in Andros, Abaco, and Grand Bahama. Yeah.
So when you think about the fact that, Sasha, we always talk about diversifying our economy, right? When you talk about growing our economy, when you talk about providing opportunities for people, and combined with that, obviously, food security. Why has this not been a major focus, especially when you have an industry like tourism?
We have never had a minister of finance or a prime minister who believe in it. If you look at the agricultural budget and today, it is probably around, when I was there, agriculture, fisheries, co-ops, and everything, we had probably around about 12 million, I think. And I guarantee you, this 30 years later, I don't believe they reached 20 million.
And most of that is administrative, probably.
Administrative, right? Poison emoluments.
But you think about
you gotta have a commitment from those persons who control the place to do it. That is why Barmsey now stand a chance of success. But they have to do it in a way that they don't rely totally on the government.
Well, that's the kind of I want to get back to Barmsey because we're going to talk about Barmsey. But you look at about the fact that we have a population of 300,000 people.
Say 400.
Let's say 400,000 people. We've got all this land. We have the biggest market next to us. We also have the biggest supplier next to us. The probably the best in technology, agricultural technology next to us.
The United States feed the world.
Okay, how is it that we are so paranoid? That's the only word I could use. I don't want to say xenophobic. I'm going to say paranoid that we can't partner with these universities, these agri businesses to exploit the land and we got Bahamians involved in the process.
That is part of the mission of BAMSI. Now, having what we call memorandum of understandings with various universities in the region, United States, West Indies, in some cases Latin America, and we have requests for them, and quite a number of them. Since I was chairman, I signed a couple of them, and before I came there, a couple of them signed them. University of Miami, University of Florida, I think Florida A&M, Ozark University, Hawking. I think they have one with a couple of places in Jamaica and down in the Caribbean.
Because here's the deal. At any given time, especially this time of year, the whole of the United States, exclusive of Hawaii and some parts of Florida, can be exposed to frost. Okay? Even South Florida can have very cold temperatures. The Bahamas is kind of void of that potential.
But the cost, you see, I'm looking at something now where let's say, for instance, if you had a pig farm, we have right now we have about maybe as much as 700 sheep and goats.
At BAMSI.
Right. They have a lot of waste. If you are a hog, you have hogs. Let's see, I'm trying to put in place now the piggery. Right? Same thing with chicken. You have the chicken farm, it's a lot of poop that they have. Now, if you channel that to compost it, you will end up with methane gas. Right. You will end up with what's it called? Biofuel.
Biofuels, yeah.
Right. Or biofertilizer, which then you end up with. You feed that back to the plants, right? And somebody now is putting together a project for me to look at. So we have then avoid buying fertilizer, which is huge. It's huge. And the feed that you get, the fuel that you get will run the farm. Then probably you have generators and all of some people doing it now. I think Bahamas based doing what they call biodiesel.
Biodiesel,
right? But what you would get from waste food, when you cut the cabbage and you take the leaves off, you put that in there along with all the poop from the chickens and the animals and the pigs. So it's almost like a cycle.
Well, I know at
you
one
will
point
you will end up with sufficient fuel to run your generators and your tractors and all of these things on the farm right from there. Yeah. Plus, you will end up with what they call liquid fertilizer. And that's a huge amount of cost in the running a vegetable farm. Right.
I know in Brazil they took all of their crops and they were able to become independent of crude oil for vehicles, etc.
And if you go in Brazil, you'll drive miles and miles. This whole island there will be nothing but sugarcane farm.
Right. Going back to this thought process about labor costs, number one, and how we deal with that, and production. So it was in my little simple model mind, right? I thought, okay, you got the biggest food producers in the United States with all the technology. Surely you could say to them, okay, you come on in. You share the technology. You show farmers, and you show farmers how to produce a certain product or products, crops. You then also show them how to prepare that to get to market. They provide packing houses or whatever the deal is, and then they export it so that Bahamians could be in the business of agriculture.
Yeah.
And then for labor, to keep labor down, you come up with a system of bringing in migrant workers because Bahamians aren't going to do it. And no matter where you go on the planet, when you look at successful agricultural economies, right? It's always migrant labor that is being used to do this. In many cases, legal migrant workers.
Basically, harvesting. If you look at it in the United States, the migrant laborers they're really for harvesting.
Right.
But the machinery,
right?
They get machinery now that will go lay the plastic thing you see on the ground.
Right.
They'll put the holes in and plant the seed and fertilize at the same time.
And
one man on the thing, and he'll do that. That machine will do what 100 people could take.
No, that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't.
Now, we have that coming on stream now, and Andrews. I have one more piece of equipment to buy, and when they go to say plant tomatoes, they'll plant acres of tomatoes one day. Lay the the plastic.
Okay.
Put fertilizer down at the same time.
The plastic is to stop weeds, etc.
The tubing.
Yeah.
That they put with the water.
Right. Yeah.
They put all that down at one run, and they're finished.
So that then takes out. Do we have a break? Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to examine this more, and then we'll get into what's happening at BAMC. We'll be right back.
Presenting Dave's Double at Wendy's.
We are trying to. There's a mindset change. I mean, you take the fella in the United States who grew up on a farm.
Generations
there. That they don't want to give it up. And they are the most wealthiest sector in their societies. Farmers. Agriculture is the biggest industry in the world. A lot of people don't think of it like that, but agriculture in the world is the biggest industry.
You got to eat.
That's right. And out of that comes your clothing and all of the other stuff that we deal with.
Yeah.
People don't think about it like that, but that's a fact.
But to Sasha's question, for me it's over. But let's say Dominique comes out of school, or even now, because you see the problem is, like you just said, the farms that you see that are successful, they are generational farms. Those are farms that have been around for hundreds of years. Great father, that kind of thing. The land has been in their family.
You talking about here
in the
United
States? In the United States,
yeah.
So people like Dominique, who's a young fella, this is now he's going to be, because when that farmer started out generations ago, he wasn't any rich farmer. He was the guy with the plow, you know what I mean, in the wilderness, plowing that field and just feeding his family, and it grew and grew. How do you take someone like this young man and go that quantum leap to where it's not just feeding his family?
His father probably left the farm, or his grandfather probably left the farm and went to the hotel industry in the Bahamas, because that is where they thought the money was.
Right.
But that in itself killed the farming community in New Providence. See, most of the land on the south, they used to be farming, on the south there, was farmland, right? All over the hill and stuff. That's what that used to be. We used to ship tomatoes and pineapples to New York and London during in the back into the 30s, 20s and stuff. But as soon as the tourism industry became, everybody went into that, and then banking came along the same time. And when you went to school and you got a little bit of education, that is where you ended up. But so nowadays, to get them back is what I'm telling you. This lady, we have a national development program, youth development program for agriculture. Now, what we're doing in Andrews now, the student who go there now, he'll be able to learn the science of agriculture and fishing, and he will see on that farm. And when we get the boats, we don't have that side of it now, but we have the aquaculture. We grow in tilapia. We start selling tilapia probably 2 weeks, next 3 weeks or so, that we grow there. And you'll have to show him, the student, that he'll have, if he do it right and scientifically, he will be able to make $150,000, $200,000 a year.
Is this
the farm? But he had to give the government, we propose the government, give up to each student who come out of there couple acres, grant them a lease, 100 years, 200 years at least. They could homestead it just like how they did in the West with the United States.
Right.
And it becomes collateral. You pass a law that be used as collateral for loans and stuff. If you don't, but you have to continue to farm it.
Right.
You could build a home on it, grow farms.
Can't do condos.
So
you can't go and do condos and
Yeah.
all of those kinds of things, right? You can't go and set up a shopping center on it.
Well, this is the thing when
But
you
this
talk
is
about
what we talk
incentivizing the people.
Well, that is, it should come on stream, I would say, within the next, hopefully, the next 18 months.
Okay.
As
So you will create a core of farmers who, through, because that's, I'm glad because I was going to try to figure out how is the government going to fund giving people equipment, et cetera, et cetera. But if you say that they can collateralize the land, because let me tell you, one thing about farmers, they may be wealthy, but they got plenty of loans. Because you got to buy that big equipment, they got all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
The ROI on it.
I have a guy there who's on the board member there now with us, and he has been in agriculture for many years, and he told us what to do. And maybe right now in the ground and there, we probably have $1 million worth of short-term crops. Right? And that those people who are in school now will see that if they have 5 acres of land, like how they have in Taiwan, most people have 2 hectares or which is probably about 5 acres, right? And they're wealthy people.
So are you encouraging, like for instance, how this thing is in Andros? Are you encouraging people who are in Andros, who have a kind of connection to Andros, to stay there and then hopefully other people will?
As I indicated to you earlier off here, there are farmers in Andros who do it in hundreds. I mean, more than $100,000 a year.
Bill, you don't want to take that.
Let me call you back.
That's what we do on LPS Live. Let me call you back. So I mean, it seems to me that there has to be a really serious commitment. I don't know how much Bahamians are aware of this, to where you say, okay, there are a lot of countries that decide, they make a decision. We're going to do this. Okay, it's not just the flavor of the day. This is a long-term, we can see the long-term 20, 30-year benefit.
Well,
so that you don't even have to be in that business in 30 years or so.
Today, to make the market for tomatoes is probably about $25 a case, right? If you had an acre of land, and also that take you maybe, say, 16, 18 weeks to grow them from planting to harvest, right? And if you plant them, you will get probably from that 1 acre, maybe $15,000 in sales out of that. Apart from what will be not saleable, but you probably, if you set up properly, you could have a cannery.
That means you need a lot of, you need a lot of acreage in order to make it worth it.
No. What I'm saying is that's 18 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? Or really is probably about 12 weeks. But during the harvest period straight through.
Okay.
By the time you plant them and they start producing, and it's short term, by after 18 or 20 weeks, all gone. All you left is the vine. And
then you want to plant another crop.
You got to plant it in. As soon as you do that, you do another crop. So you do 3 crops a year from one of them crops. You're looking at probably 40,000 a year.
Just from that 1 acre.
Right.
Do you see Bahamians, though, and you've been around for a long time, farming is hard work. This isn't, it's hard work.
It has to be the love.
Yeah. And that's what
time and dedication, and I just don't see it. I mean, you almost said it yourself, where you said the budget for agriculture is what, 12 million?
But you see, you got to understand the psychology.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're serious about it as a government, we have so much land.
Yeah,
I don't care that we don't have the right soil, but we have so much land.
Yeah, but Ms. Lightman, what I'm trying to say to you is that psychology in your mind that this can be done. And it will probably take us 5 to 10 years to get that back. Those people who you see on those farms, they love it, They white don't mean nothing to them. Like my mother, and my mother's 91. But she will go in the farm every morning.
But I saw.
And that's her life.
I saw.
You got students today. Yes. You got students today who are going through BAMSI.
And they love it.
And they love it. It's just like the fishermen. But we have stifled these people over the years.
Mm-hmm. But you know,
we don't allow the fishermen to catch their own fish, but the other Americans there and the other people out there catching them.
Yeah. I saw a program once called The Immigrants. It was about a group of people from Sweden, where the soil was it was permafrost.
You're right.
They couldn't farm anything.
Right.
And they took a major trip to America, ended up in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And they were able to claim land by just going out and if I send Sasha out, she's my daughter, till I can't see her no more, till I can be able to say, you just put a stake in the ground, that's my land.
That's what they was upsetting. Right?
But here's the thing. The motivation came from deprivation, right? Yeah. That in their homeland, they couldn't grow anything, and they couldn't eat. And so this desire, this passion came out of this need to supply food for myself. Mm-hmm. How do you and then the subsequent generations grew up in that environment, right. And they have a love for that land. That's their business. Mm-hmm. Are we able to do that?
I'm sure we can. I'm positive we can.
Yeah.
The Germans in Minnesota out in the area, that was settled by the Germans. Right. Homesteaders and people who came and say we go west. That's what they did.
Do we have it's funny, and this is kind of bizarre, and I could pull your paper. When I was in college, and we're almost near the end, I used to always compare the Bahamas to the United States from the sense that we had other lands, territories, right? Mm-hmm. And that if we only had a pioneering spirit, that people from New Providence would go to Long Island or Andros and homestead, and set up their thing. But it just seems that either I don't know what the missing ingredients were to get people to say, you know what, I've had it with New Providence. I'm not making a good living. If I could go and grab some land or get some land through government, because that's how the homestead. The government said the land is out there, go get it.
But the government will have to make that decision.
They have to go get the land.
And we have had governments from going back to the 60s and the 50s who they won't grant you 50 by 100 or a quarter acre. But that is no good. Not for that sort of thing. You got to make that leap, what I call that quantum leap, and say, you want 5 acres, you want 10 acres, you want 20 acres. Show me how you can farm it. And there's the grant.
Do you think that is a missing? That is a missing link?
And also being able to use the land as collateral.
Okay. And then, because I know from some horror stories how hard it is to get Crown land, how long it takes to get the conveyance in your name, all that kind of stuff. It's got to be, you're saying, a policy decision that says, this is some land that's out.
You got to win a medal.
What's that?
You got to win a medal.
What's a medal?
Win a medal.
Again.
To get Crown land.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know these things.
Oh my God!
I don't. They're young. They got all these sayings. I don't know what the thing is.
No, she's
to win a medal.
You have to win a
medal.
Oh, you got to be okay.
An athlete.
Oh yeah. Oh, see now. Thank you. But that's for house. That ain't for farming. That's why I didn't connect. That's for you can build a duplex.
You just still talking about Crown land, right?
Crown land, yeah. But it didn't. The metal thing didn't click, Mr. Bells.
But probably be bought for you.
Yeah. But if you believe that there are ample amount of, I think so. I think there are many Bahamians who are in a state of deprivation.
You'll see
and if you say to them, here's 10 acres of land, and you give them the knowledge,
anywhere from, I would say, 3 acres on up, you could, if you deal with that properly, scientifically, you could have a very good living. You could send your children to school, send them to educate, go to
college,
university, go on your vacation and cruise
all my
every
friends
year
are farmers.
Like that.
All my friends are their parents were farmers.
If you do it,
and they have the advantage because those people who came over from Germany, all that, they had to learn by the hard way. You're now saying that BAMC is there to help you along the way.
Yeah, and see, we're going to demonstrate. BAMC should demonstrate to the students that if you do it right,
this is how
you will,
and we'll be there to help you along the way. Let me ask you this question then. As the chairman of BAMC, and this is the last question, even though you didn't even think it would take this long, but see how fast it go by. In your role as chairman, is it not your obligation almost to lobby the government to do that kind of homesteading policy?
But that's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing.
That's what we're doing. I have proposed that.
Okay, and how's that coming along? Is the government receptive?
The government, they say they're receptive, right?
Because Tennyson, listen, I have a place in Abaco, right? Yeah. And I drive from Marsh Harbor to Schooner Bay, south, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing but land.
Nothing but land, right?
Nothing but land.
25,000 acres.
Just land. Ukiah to West End and
Freeport. You know what? If nothing is going to happen with that.
25,000 acres of old Owens, Illinois
land. Yeah.
You're talking about right there.
Nothing, and that was.
I guarantee you, there's not more than maybe 5,000 acres of that now under. Maybe
I don't
much
see,
less.
From what I see, I don't see none. Yeah. You got the name, you got the chicken, you got the sod farm.
The guy, Meolas, when I was minister, I gave him 200. I granted him 200 acres lease.
Right.
The Big Boyd farm.
Right.
I think I gave them about 30 or 40 acres. And the fellow in the light one down, and he had about 200 acres.
And they're making
a couple other people had. And since I was there, I think Peter Pooch grants some land. I think all the ministers grant some extra land there. But they're really good farmland in that area.
But they're just and it's just laying fallow.
What's his name? You know, the Key?
Yeah.
Key boys,
yeah. So I these are the kind of things that our listeners, Bahamians, need to know, that these are the kind of things that you should be pushing rather than just complaining. Get active and say, look,
like you should go and get 200 acres and
I passed that stage in life, man. She tell me I finish. So, but you, Miss Happy Foods 242, giving you plenty plugs, boy. You Happy Foods 242, you're in the food business. You should be promoting this type of thing. I'm serious, you know. You are.
You run a restaurant?
No, she have a TV show.
No, I have a TV show.
Oh, a TV show.
And all those shows all those places you go to, it should be the thing where they talk about good Bahamian produce, etc. Fresh produce, organic. Right. Mm-hmm. You got to get Tennyson Wells on there, man. You got to go to BAMC. So, Mr. Wells, I want you to come back at some point, but this issue of homesteading is a very, very viable way forward for Bahamians who are not academically inclined. They don't wish to go into banking and accounting, and they don't have another. This is the answer, man. And all they need is the land.
Well, most of these people, I notice you say they're not academically inclined.
No, I'm saying. Not
necessarily.
You know what I mean. They don't want to be a lawyer.
But
they don't want to be a
BAMC
doctor.
is there too. When you come through there, you would have understand the makeup of the soil,
science,
the chemistry,
right.
and the biology of the plant. All of these things.
It is very academic, yeah. It is
and the pest control and how fertilizer work, all of these things.
But it's applicable academics, right? It's not just
it's the practical side.
It's not learning Shakespeare.
There's a lot of criticism what we doing now, right? But that practical side is what will for that student to see that could be done.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Wells, we got to run, but I want to thank you. I know you got to get going to someplace. I want to thank you for stopping by and thanking us. Tell us, but we've learned about the possibility, Happy 242, about homesteading. Happy Foods 242. I just abbreviating, shortcutting.
No.
Okay, yeah. We'll be back. We'll be back on. We'll be back on Thursday with another guest. And thank you, Mr. Wells, for coming back.
And I'll be back on Thursday too.
And Sasha will be back on Thursday because she behaved herself, so she'll be back.
What?